All right, all right. Welcome back to another episode of the Power Moves Health Marketing Podcast. I have a buddy of mine in the studio today. We've got Victoria LaFont. You got a lot of things that you do. I actually don't even want to spoil it by introducing you because there are multiple layers to the amazing Victoria LaFont. A lot of people know her for SEO and content strategy, and now AI and SEO and content strategy and coaching and mentoring and educating and all the things. Hey, Victoria.
Good morning.
Good
It is so
morning.
great to see you.
It's good to
Again,
see you too.
we've been on film together a lot because we just got done with the Health Business Growth Conference.
We did.
Which was phenomenal.
It was
Lauren.
so good. High vibes. We did a 3-day virtual conference where we were helping. It was literally over 600 practitioners that registered for this event. We were helping them, figure out the next best step to scale their health business. And that's what this show is about. Oh my God. What a perfect segue. So, Victoria, tell us about the different things that you got going on, who you are, all the things.
Yeah. So as you're talking, I'm like, God, it's good that we've simplified our model, which has been this year-long struggle. And I think that we've got it down now. But yeah, so our main focus at the LaFont Agency is essentially improving integrative medicine through marketing. That is our mission. And that's at the core of everything that we do. So we're totally inbound. We don't do any outbound marketing. Feel a little allergic to ads. I'm just ignorant about them. I never got there. And the reason why is because I got into this in the first place because I was an academic writer. I wrote curriculum and research, and I'm a total research nerd. But you don't get paid in academia. So I don't know if people realize that or not.
You can, but you like to travel and do nice things. You need to do other stuff.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, there needs to be a lot more funding and support of academic writers than there is. And I have friends that are in that world, and they're brilliant writers. They would be great marketers, but they've just kind of gotten in that lane, and nobody knows that they're out there, and they're not really making a living. So I was like, okay, hang on a second.
How do we make this?
There's got to be some way to make this happen. Same with writing curriculum. I mean, I loved it. It's just not very lucrative. So I kept kind of coming up against this roadblock when I branched out a little bit more into writing blogs or even writing web copy. And we would get clients in the agency and they wanted the marketing. They weren't as concerned with the accuracy of the information.
Interesting.
And I have this written up on our website, but this is true. This actually happened. I'm flying from Boston to Kentucky, where my husband and I split our time. I'm sitting in the Baltimore airport at this, airport bar. I think it's R&R airport
Keeping
bar.
it classy, yes.
I felt a little like I was in a movie. I had my legs crossed.
Oh my God.
But I was like, okay, I don't know why. I mean, this is the most reckless food item you could order at an airport bar. But I was like, I'm in Baltimore. I'm going to get oysters. I'm sitting there eating. I know.
All the red flags are just, I just got chills. And
I'm fine though. I made it. I got a strong stomach, which we can get into that later. But so I'm sitting there eating oysters, and I think I had a martini, which is the most amazing combination. And so I'm thinking through, I'm like, why is this not working for us? We're great writers. We're good at conversion copy. We're good at the academic side, but it was a mismatch between the clients that we were attracting and what I at the time didn't realize was my mission, which is to put really high quality and very practical information out into the world. So I was just angry for years. Why aren't people caring about this? And it's in that moment, again, I joke on our website, this is our origin story. I'm like, I don't know if it was all the zinc from the oysters, finally hit my brain.
It settled in.
Something clicked, and I was like, oh my God, it's me. I'm the reason why there's this mismatch because I'm not upfront with what our mission is. And it was such a clear, it was such a profound moment in the most, mundane space, this airport bar in Baltimore, Maryland. And I got on my laptop right then and scrapped and scraped our entire website and started writing from the bottom up because I was like, this is our mission. This is what we're out to do. And from that point on, it has been catapulting forward at a rate that we're just hanging on for dear life. So Yeah, it's interesting to think, like, for all those years, I just struggled, and finally I was like, "Oh, right. Whatever you're upset about, the gap that you see,
Mhm.
whether you're a clinician or whatever field you're in, if you're an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, that might actually be your niche, and you just
Mhm.
don't realize it yet." So it's like, once I kinda put that together, I was like, "This is the gap I'm supposed to serve," and that's it. We've been doing that since that day.
So I want to kind of go back a little bit. I want to backtrack to before you started writing. I think writers and content producers and creators are some of the most unique people. I think I'm good with content, but and I do feel like words naturally flow through me, but I'm never gonna like walk the plank and say I'm a writer. Like I'm not gonna like do that. I'm good at it. I can make conversion copy, but I think my superpower is, strategy in my brain and I see color and different things that people don't see. So
Mhm.
I want to kind of like understand you and your brain and how you came to be this writer with the tattoo sleeve and the cute glasses and the shaved sides of your head. I'm curious on how we got here. So what is the story of you, Victoria LaFont?
Oh my goodness. So, yeah, I mean, I've written and felt really comfortable in that space my whole life. I have dyscalculia. So I didn't know that. It's like dyslexia, but for numbers. Yeah, people don't really talk about it. And that's fine. I don't need
like
to
you like you struggle with adding and subtracting?
heavily
Well,
struggle.
I do too. I don't know if this is like making it about me moment, but like when
It's
I
about
play
you. If you could figure this out, I mean, it's this struggle that people they don't talk about it much.
Well,
So
I don't like, when I play blackjack, like, I slow down the whole table 'cause
I'm
it'll
like,
be No, I'm pressing my fingers into my thighs so nobody can see that I'm counting.
smart. Yeah.
So, okay, so this is a real thing, so you struggle with numbers.
Bad, 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 which is ironic because I I do statistical analysis of research papers. That's part of what we do, and that is numbers. I mean, that's heavy numbers. In that context, it's a little bit easier for me, I think, because my interest is so great. I just
Mhm.
overpower it. But it takes me a long time to figure it out, and it took me years, and it's not my natural tendency. My natural tendency, if, like, the world wasn't, how it is, I would be like a poet in flowing robes out in my garden writing poetry.
Oh
That's
my
what I
god.
would be doing. I loved that. And like just was very arts based and shied away from numbers because of that weakness. So I've had to really push against that weakness now. But yeah, grew up writing. That was my strength and singing. So I trained to be a classical opera singer. Like
So cool.
the horns, the whole like how you imagine an opera singer. And Kentucky just happened to have this like incredibly robust arts program. The whole
Mhm.
state has a lot of attention on the arts that's government funded. But for high schoolers, they have this program you can audition. I can't remember all of the disciplines, but vocal music was one, but there's like for writers, whatever. So I got in as a high schooler, which I'm from like the western part of the state. There's like nothing in Western Kentucky. People think of Lexington and Louisville, but we're 4 hours west.
Oh my god.
So I went to Louisville as a high schooler. I had never been around other weirdos before. I was like, wait, there's other freaks out there.
Love it. I love
This
it.
has been about the same since high school. So if you
Really?
can imagine like this in like a very conservative
Yeah.
Catholic. I was in Catholic school for 12 years. It like did not go well for me. I didn't know that other people were
Mhm.
out there like this. So I finally figured it out and I like attached singing to that feeling of being
Mhm.
accepted. I probably wouldn't have succeeded at anything that I had chosen at that time because I just didn't have the discipline to
Mhm. And you
follow
were a
through.
kid. You didn't know who you were yet.
Yeah, I mean, I just I didn't have it, but I went to college I was an opera major for 2 years. Um, Loved it in many ways, but could just see, like, I'm not gonna succeed at this. And I actually would take creative writing classes on the sly on my music scholarship. So I would take like 25 hours a semester sometimes just to get into those classes where I felt comfortable. And eventually, my mentor at that school, I went to him and I was like, I'm not going to last. And he's like, yeah. And so there was an exchange program, and I ended up in Eugene, Oregon, at the University of Oregon.
I didn't know you made your way to Oregon. Is it country like Kentucky?
You know what? Eugene is like this wild hippie epicenter of anarchy and tree sitting, and that's who I fell in with. So I lived in this co-op in Eugene, and I was a vegan, and wore my Carhartts and bicycled everywhere, and just
For how long?
I was in Eugene for a year, and then I dropped out of school. I was like, I'm done.
Out of college?
Yeah, out
Okay.
of college. And at that time, a lot of people there was this way you could fly to Hawaii for like $100. So I went down to San Francisco and caught a flight out of Oakland and went to Big Island and hitchhiked around Hawaii for
What do you mean
years.
hitchhiked? Like stayed with strangers?
Or camped. Yeah, I had like a backpack and
Were you homeless?
I mean, yeah, I guess technically that's
Oh my God, Victoria, you were
but
homeless?
it was chosen. I mean, I have like an incredibly supportive family, loving parents. I had, a lot of privilege. It's like if I had chosen to, I could have gone back to school. I still had a scholarship. I was just like, F the system. I was in my early 20s, angry. Like the whole thing, but also just like wanted to see the world. Like I could feel this pull in me that was like, I got to get out of here and see something different and explore. I wanted that. And definitely there was some tough moments, like do not get me wrong, but that move led me to this raw food community on Big Island that was this eco-tourism spot for years, Pangaea. And like, how deep do you want me to go?
Well, so we're now we're out of college. We are hitchhiking and homeless in Hawaii, supportive family, but now you found a raw
food permaculture community, and we would have guests from all over the world. Like I learned about countries like Micronesia. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah,
We would
yeah.
get guests from there. These amazing people. We had this like Hollywood director come and stay with us over Christmas because people wanted this experience, but they wanted to be pampered. Meanwhile, I was like chopping cane grass with a machete and like cracking coconuts and living on the land, and I loved it. I was like, this is it.
You're such a hippie. I love this for you.
Oh, like hardcore.
Love
Like,
this for you. I'm
so
surprised you have on clothes right now. Just be
me
free.
too, actually.
Just be
If
free.
we weren't on camera. But so these people, they were into, a very extreme version of the diet that I still eat today. Like whole foods. I learned about nourishing traditions, like the whole Weston A. Price world was kind of part of that. And it's what really got me into
the integrative stuff.
Yeah, going to graduate school and studying this. So, it was a long line of like getting there with lots of twists and turns. But I look back and actually, like I said, we split our time between Boston and here. Our downstairs neighbor is my age, and he is a surgeon and teaches at Harvard. And I like look at him sometimes and I'm like, man, like been like committed to this path. He's so educated. He's brilliant. But I'm like, you know what? I got to hitchhike around Hawaii. I went to Northern California after that for years and opened my nutrition practice there. I practiced clinically in this small town. I had a really incredible early life. It didn't lead to Harvard, but I'm across the river from Harvard.
Right, exactly. You're in the same city, like whatever. So you started how long have you had your agency?
Yeah, so the LaFont agency has been in existence. This is our 3rd year. So still pretty new.
You.
Like I was doing the work before then, but just didn't understand like how to put it all together. And draw on all of that experience, to create this content. And really, when I think about it, what it has given me more than anything is an appreciation for story.
Yeah. Yes.
People don't realize if we thought about it from an evolutionary standpoint, it would come in easier. But like humans want to be told a story. Yeah, the algorithm and like that is designed to suck us in, but we get these little snippets of narrative and it's highly compelling. So that is a huge strength of our agency is we really put story in with the content that we create, and it keeps people on the page, which is very, very good for optimization.
So, well, let's just kind of get into it because, we've got, you and I share the exact same audience, for not necessarily just, your average run-of-the-mill practitioner, but practitioners that want to make a huge impact, right? They need their website to perform. They need to be able to be found. One of my bigger missions is to make sure that, minority practitioners can be found. Even like in Atlanta, I was searching for like Black functional medicine doctors, couldn't find them. Didn't even know what words to put in to find them.
find them.
Like how
Yeah.
does one do that, right? So I don't, none of us want to be the best kept secret. None of the people that we serve want to be the best kept secret, right? They're integrative, functional, root cause, preventative practitioners of all kinds who have a story and they have a message. And SEO, so you and I are on two different ends of the coin.
Yeah.
Wait, sides of the
Sides.
coin?
Ends of
Coins
the
can
spectrum.
have ends, even though it's a circle, it's fine. But yeah, so two sides of the coin, right? Because it's usually when people come to me, they're paying for high-level strategy, they're paying for ads, or they're paying for our marketing agent. Something like that. It's something pretty sticky.
Yeah.
When they come to you, though, what is SEO in their mind? Like, versus what you provide? Like, can you kind of talk about the differences there? Because we kind of still in old school world with SEO in our minds.
And listen, people are terrified. We can't even really use SEO in our marketing because it turns people away.
So you're not saying that anymore. Smart.
I mean, I do actually in our title tag, like on our website, our description, I say like we make SEO not suck, and because it's funny.
Yeah.
But people still see SEO and they're like, I'm not, savvy enough to pull this off. Or it makes me so upset. They have had a horrible experience with an agency in the past who promised a lot, couldn't deliver because everybody's trying to outsmart Google. I'm amazed that people make these promises. And then they've charged these people thousands and
Thousands of
dollars.
thousands. Yeah. Scary.
Yeah, it's wild. So yeah, even saying SEO, I did a talk not long ago and I said the word SEO and the crowd, if you can read a room, they were like,
Ugh. What does this even mean? Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, when people come to us, it's like really what we are good at is getting them found online. That's the best way to say it. And then keeping their people, not their people. And that's, it's like we forget that an audience doesn't necessarily mean your audience. We talk about that more in social media than anything. It's like, I don't care if you have, 500,000 followers. Are they buying things?
Yeah. Literally.
Yes. So we get their people on their website to stay on their website, and we turn them into like the cornerstone of when that person goes online or they have a question or they have a problem, they know to go to that practitioner. So many sites are just like practitioners want to tell their story, right? And they should in little bits and pieces. But really what you have to do on your website is tell the story of your client, right? That is the goal. So that's what we like. Part of what we do is coaching and consulting. Like you have to start to shift your mindset away from all the medical terminology, your story, your struggle. Yeah, I didn't make a very good example because I just told you my whole weird background.
This is your episode though. I want to know about you. Yes.
But what you really have to do on your website as a clinician, and this is what we help people do, is you have to make sure that your client knows you understand them.
Yeah.
That's marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing is telling people about your stuff.
Yep.
I like to simplify it because people get so wound up and I'm like, it's just telling people about your stuff in a way that lets them know, and this is especially important in wellness, that you get it. Right?
But just because I put their story on my website, how does that make me get found?
Yes. So when you use language, though, that they're using, that is what helps you get found. And that's like the very kind of like a simplified version of what keywords are. So if anybody's looked into SEO at all or any type of optimization or even in ads, you find the words that people are searching for. Yeah. So nobody's going online and searching for hypertension. I mean, maybe every once in a while.
Not our clients, not our doctor's clients, no.
Yeah, they're searching for like blood pressure, like the words that they use.
Lower my blood pressure, lower my stress,
Yes, yes. Is salt raising my blood pressure? What foods are raising my blood pressure? You have to use those words on your website so that when they put those words into Google, there's a match. Right.
But how do you unpack that? Because I think there's a lot of different approaches to gut health. There's a lot of different approaches to, natural medicine and or dentistry or whatever. So how do you get the correct story
Yeah, it's
from
dependent on like that person's focus,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So, yeah, it's an excellent, excellent question. And it's one of the reasons why, especially in SEO, I mean, we can talk about SEO like slowly morphing into whatever AI is going to make it. That's going to be an interesting part of our conversation.
Who knows, right? Who
Um,
knows?
But SEO is still SEO as we know it. AI has not completely taken over search. And really, what it is you have to have a niche so that your specific people searching for specific topics online find your specific niche. Like those two things go together. So let's say it's a holistic dentist. If they're pediatric focused,
Mhm.
super important. They've got to
Mhm.
use the words that those parents are searching for their
Mhm.
kids. If they're more like orthodontic focused, I don't know all
Yeah.
the specifics
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
dentistry, but same. So we really see some of the most like powerful tendrils of niching come into play with SEO. There are doctors mainly that rely on the power of their name that can escape niching. So, like Dr. Mark Hyman, I'm never going to look at that man or his team and be like, he's got to pick a specialty. It's like, no, no, no,
Right.
he did it.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? Like
Right.
people search for his name, and actually, more and more, even people who don't have a name yet, and this is where we get into the AI portion of it, they are working to strengthen their brand
Mhm.
versus speaking directly to the client. I mean, they're doing both, but there's more of a brand focus than there used to be. And that's because it will help you show up in AI generated results. But still, if you're just getting started, you have to use the words that your clients are using to search online.
So what's your research process then, especially if some of these folks don't know their avatar? Or, I mean, they see the people every day. I know they do their discovery calls, but they can't articulate,
I know they
That's
can't.
the $1,000,000 question. And I throw out things like, hey, what are they watching on Netflix? Where are they shopping? What are they saying? I lurk in Facebook groups. I'm a lurker. I think marketers naturally we are voyeurs in that way. I'm always opting into people's stuff. So what's the process that you go through when you're helping a client?
This is the thing that I've seen more than anything else. These clinicians have gone through some marketing exercises. They've all filled out an avatar form. And
Mhm.
in their mind, I can almost guarantee they've been like, what the hell? Like, am I going
Mhm.
to have to fill out another one of these client avatar forms? They
Mhm.
have a stack of them somewhere gathering dust. What no one ever tells the business owner, and nobody told me this, or they didn't explain it to me in a way that I could hear, get it in through my thick head, is when you figure out who your avatar is, that determines everything. The only other determinant is your brand, which is important. That's
Sure.
your personality,
Sure.
right? Like my agency is not a buttoned up, starched white shirt, pearls with, like navy
No.
blue Sperry's. Obviously, that is not the
I know mine clearly I have on like athleisure and I have 5 interviews today. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, if whatever like your personality is of your business, yes, that's important, but that is just as important as your avatar. But when you're filling out that sheet, it's like separated. Like nobody's like, hey, all of this information that you put on this sheet, it's going to determine your offers.
Mhm.
It's going to determine your marketing and how you speak to these people. It's going to make it so that you get found on Google so that you can run ads that actually work. That bridge between the avatar and every other business decision that you make
Yep.
down to your brand
Yep.
colors,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
nobody makes that bridge. So if there's one, like aspect of this interview that people walk away with, go dig out one of those avatar forms or start a new one and really write down the most important thing is, yeah, what is this person's main health problem? For sure.
Mhm.
Right. Or what are they after? Like we tell people they can niche according to the population. So like female triathletes, that's a population,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
They can niche according to their specialty. So like we have some clients and their specialty is blood chemistry analysis. Cool. We can get you found for that. That's what you want to do. Or pathology is the most common, right? You work with
Mhm.
people who have thyroid issues. So you figure out what that is, and that's important. But more important than that is how does that problem affect that person's life? Because that's what they're going to search for. The best story I have, and I've repeated it, but it's so good, is I have a good friend. She's a nurse practitioner. Her dad had open heart surgery. She's monitoring all of his like blood
Mhm.
chems and everything. He wakes up. She wants to be like, hey, your CRM is, everything is whatever,
Yeah. Whatever
yeah,
the labs
numbers are
are.
good.
Mhm.
And he's like, can you ask the doc? I'm like, just waking up from open heart surgery. Can you ask the doctor when I can start cycling again? And she
Hmm.
was like, what?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the best marketing example ever because he doesn't give a crap about the thing that you give about as a clinician.
Mhm.
He cares about what he wants to do with his life. So
Mhm.
when you write your website, you have to write about that. How soon after open heart surgery can I get back on my bicycle? That might be what he's
Okay.
searching. He's not
Okay.
searching, do I have inflammation after open heart surgery? What is my C-reactive protein? He doesn't care. He cares
Mhm.
about getting on his bike. So when you are writing your website or when you're thinking about how to write a blog or talk to your clients or, interact with them through social media posts, they don't care about what you care about. They care about what they care about. And if you know your avatar, you can speak to that. We talk a lot in marketing about like know, like, trust. There's all these kind of like sayings that we talk
Mhm.
about. Essentially, you have to establish trust with your audience. There is no field where it's more important than wellness. I don't
I
care.
know, I know, and I don't think I think doctors want, like, a step-by-step on how to build trust or, like, a user's manual for that, but it's like, you have to earn it. It's with time, it's with that organic effort and,
Mhm.
really, like, taking the time to educate and to show your transformations, and so many wanna skip this step,
Yeah, and
Victoria.
using the language that your clients use and telling them, I get it. If
Mhm.
somebody looks at your website and they see, like, this is just a headline, you can't fit into your favorite suit anymore. The button won't button. I can help. That person feels like, oh my God, they're like in my closet with me.
Mhm. Mhm.
They understand. Yeah, or you're embarrassed to have sex with your husband. It like hits people. When they see that you get what they're going through, they for sure will trust you more to treat them.
So how do you fast track the trust?
With that, that is how you do it. You make sure that you know your avatar well enough, and you can use AI to do this. You can ask AI questions. What podcast does this person listen to? Where do they shop? Where you can use words on your website so they read those words and it brings tears to their eyes. Or they go, oh my gosh, right? We've
Mhm.
all read a website or seen a blog where we're like, how does this person like get me?
I
You
know it's
know?
me. Are they talking to me right now?
Yes.
Yes.
You know who I mean, this is old school marketing, but, oh, Amy Porterfield
Yeah.
is her and her team are
She's a
masters at it.
master. Yeah, we all look at she's like I even have one of my bots, one of my GPTs, like, trained to do something Amy Porterfield-ish, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you read her newsletter, she calls out so many specifics, the shows they watch on Netflix. You just finished watching the latest episode of Emily in Paris. I'm not this avatar, but
Yeah,
whatever that
that's
show
not
is.
me either, but I know what you're
Drinking
talking about.
chamomile tea, but it's like these specifics where this person's like, "Yeah, that's me. Oh my god,
Mhm.
that I did just finish that show." Whatever the specifics are, letting your clients know that you get it. That's how you fast track the trust. I mean, for sure, we can use social proof, right? Testimonials, fantastic. Get somebody that is a mirror of your avatar, get their testimonial, put it on your website. Fantastic approach. The social media comments, screenshot them, circle them, put them in your newsletters. But if you can directly speak to your clients with your copy about topics that they care about, they're going to trust you. You've done your homework.
So now let's kinda talk about how AI kinda fits into this because, both you and I with our agencies have had to rapidly make sure we're incorporating AI into the stuff that we do because you're not doing technical SEO, you're content SEO. Those are 2 different things. So kinda speak to the differences, if you don't mind, between the 2, and, how are you using AI to kinda, like, catapult your results a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing, right? It's like AI can write, and it's getting better at writing.
Smarter than us in many, many ways.
Yeah, part of me is like, "That's cool. I'll become a swim school teacher if it takes over."
Right.
I'm
Swim school?
like yeah, totally, I love teaching kids
I'll
swim
do
school
dog
stuff.
walking or something like that, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Mhm.
be outside." Um But the way that we can leverage it, right, like in our agency is like the number one topic that is on our minds is when you go on Google now and you perform a search, 90% of the results are AI generated. That is the number one result on Google now, even in the people also ask section. So if you get results and you kind of scroll down, there's usually this little section that's like, here's some other questions that might help you. You click in there, those are AI generated. So how do you make it so that your business shows up or your words show up in those AI generated results? That's what we're helping people figure out now. And here's the reality. This is the thing, because I'm sure everybody's like, how do I do that? Like, let me write this down.
Right.
Everybody is guessing right now.
Yes.
There aren't, so here's the thing, just to be completely clear. I am not like a dyed-in-the-wool SEO. That's not my shtick. I'm a highly, highly SEO educated content writer. So even though the best SEOs, professional people, they only do search engine optimization. They don't write copy, they do it. They don't know the answer to this either. Nobody knows the answer, right? But we do have some breadcrumbs, some clues. And from a content perspective, this is very, very interesting. The thing that we're seeing work, and we actually used this example this weekend because this was part of our talk, when people have strong brand recognition, your business name, exactly what you do, connected over and over and over on the internet, it is much more likely that you are going to show up in those AI-generated results. So the example that we use, the case study that she's just done such a great job of this is Dr. Elisa Song. She's a functional pediatrician. She has linked her business name and her name to the fact that she's a functional pediatrician everywhere online.
You can, anytime you're typing holistic pediatrician, integrative or functional, she tops up as a top of search. And I'm in Georgia.
Yes.
Right.
And it's in the AI-generated results, and it's in ChatGPT. It's everywhere. And the reason why is because it gets kind of technical and it's very interesting. If you start to look into the way that AI works, long-form content-generated AI, so like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, some people call it like spicy predictive text. So essentially, there are complex systems that navigate the way that these systems create the content that you get. But really what they're doing is seeing what words are connected to other words over and over and over on the internet. Okay. And then they're making the best guess based on, this programming to form content that makes sense to the human brain. That's basically it in a nutshell. And God bless me if somebody's out there who is an AI programmer. I apologize.
Sorry for violating, the AI law, Stark law. Yeah, my bad.
So if you think about it like predictive text, if that software is being trained on data that, everything on the internet now, unless you are very specific in the way that you set up your site to say, do not train on my data, which you should not do as an entrepreneur.
The practitioners, they're all weird about that stuff too.
We should talk about that.
Yeah.
You want that system to be trained on your business name, the people you serve. So that is a strong brand, right? So Dr. Song wasn't like, well, I'm into thyroid sometimes, and then sometimes I'm into liver health. She's like, I'm a functional pediatrician. That's it. That's what's online. She has a steady brand. It's very, very clear. You have to have that to show up in those results. So it kind of harkens back to, in many ways, these practices, old school PR, like snail mail, go door to door, talk to the people where, and again, we talked about this weekend, where are people showing up?
Yep.
That where are people searching for a functional pediatrician? Where are people, visiting websites where her name and brand could be listed? If those sites are being used to train AI, she needs to be listed on those sites. She hasn't done any of this consciously. She's just got such good brand recognition that she's going to show up. So in your business, quit the waffling. Right? And this goes back to the avatar. The avatar is the specific person in your audience that you're going to serve. Know that niche. Connect that niche to your business name and do not look back. That's it.
What do you have to say for doctors who are scared of it?
I get it. I totally get it. The thing for me that got me over that hump was that I was so angry. I was like, if I read one more half-baked, possibly harmful health recommendation online, I'm going to throw my computer out the window, right? So that anger led me to a mission. Whatever it is in you that leads you to a mission. When I was practicing clinically, it was rosacea. I mean, I had rosacea so terribly that I went into that niche. You know, it was like a mission for me. I knew how terrible it was. Whatever draws you and drives you to practice, you have to choose that and let that fire kind of lead you, that passion or that anger or that, you know, like that feeling you have. Let it lead you and do not be afraid of excluding other populations.
I'm with you on that. I'm so with you on that. Like it goes back to just being bold and fiercely like unapologetic about what you do, the transformation you provide. Excuse me, being that magnetic practitioner that I think we all want to be. And it does start with, you know, your how people find you and how people and how you communicate to the like just being that master or mastering the communication with your client is just so key. So are you updating websites every day?
We do not do a lot of done for you work. We have a few clients that have retainers. A lot of what we do is consulting. Yeah, that's like the main work that we do. And this is part of us figuring out our own model because I do not want to be a manager. I love this work. I want to do the work. I don't want to manage the people doing the work. So there's two of us in the agency. We handle our done for you clients and then we consult. So we mainly talk to either the clinician or their team, you know, either if it's a VA that they've hired or they have a marketing person on staff. Or even a contractor, we come in and we train. That's mainly how we influence the people that we work with.
What are your like two or three key, like every practitioner that owns a business that has a website or online presence needs to do? What is like your, you know,
It's
if
great.
you leave this podcast and do nothing different, you know, like what exactly should they be doing on the most minimal level? You
Yeah.
know, two or three things that they can take away.
I mean, you have to pick a niche. It's sort of like this. Like you could theoretically wait to go viral on social media for your business to take off. That happens to people.
Yeah, well, at least
That's-
it appears as though it
yeah,
happens to people.
totally.
We never know.
Sure. Like
Yeah.
let's say it happens to like 1% of people.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
you want to take that margin of chance as like you're like that you want to, you know, rest the weight of your business on that by not niching and thinking that you're going to be successful. Okay. Because that's about what the margin is for not niching. It's the same as going viral on social media and that being your main marketing strategy. It just does not work for most people. So you have to niche. And so when I kind of tell you this first pointer, you're going to see why. Because you have to create content and publish content on your website that serves that niche.
Mhm.
That's number one. You have to, as much as you can. People are like, oh my gosh, the word count and this and that. It's like, unless you're publishing consistently, don't worry about the details yet.
Right.
Publish consistently. Hitting publish is better than not hitting publish as long as whatever you're putting on your website answers that niche's biggest questions and solves their biggest problems. That's
Mhm.
your job.
Mhm.
I don't want to read a blog, you know, from a practitioner about prostaglandins or inflammatory cytokines or interleukins or, you know, like all of the clinically jargon
Mhm.
that we use, unless
Mhm.
you're trying to reach other clinicians, in
Mhm.
which case that is the language that your client uses.
Mhm.
I want to read about like rashes and dry skin and low libido and hair loss, like the things that people care about.
Mhm.
And then I want you to connect it to like, again, I'm embarrassed to be naked in front of my husband, or like, I don't even want to go to the Pilates class because I feel embarrassed to have my leggings on. Those snippets are what make people feel like, yeah, she gets it.
Mhm.
So publish the content as much as you can and not going crazy. And it
Mhm.
has to be content that is specific to those people. Otherwise, why do they care?
Right. Right. And we don't want to
Don't
be
care.
like that.
And I will say this about niching. Niching is a marketing strategy. It is not your practice. You can see whoever you want to see in your business. You can work however you want to work, but you have to market specifically. Okay. For instance, we do marketing work for people that are not in the wellness field.
Mhm.
You would never
You would
know.
never know. Mhm.
Yeah. But, we do whatever we want with our business on the back end. On the front end, though, we are going to market in a way that we know is effective and draw on the population that we would like to work with the most. Okay, that's number one. Publish the content for those specific people. Number two, you have to collaborate. This is especially important now with AI-generated results. You need to show up on other people's websites.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that there's links, hyperlinks between your websites, even though that is important from an optimization perspective. If you're on a podcast, okay, perfect example.
Sure.
We can do this in real time. We can make this so meta, Lauren. So when you post this, would you please link back to my agency's website?
Yes.
Like with the words wellness marketing agency as the anchor text.
Yes.
Okay, that backlink from your show notes on your website to my website is a powerful vote of confidence in the eyes of Google. Google says like, hey, okay, the LaFont agency, they got their stuff together. Lauren's linking back to them. We're going to boost them up in the results. That's still important. But what is also important now with AI-generated results is they see that my name, the LaFont agency, wellness marketing experts, appears on your site and on as many different sites online as I can get it on. So
I love this.
collaborate with people, okay? Number three, this is still very, very important. Think about how you feel when you get on your computer and you get the little pinwheel of death.
I know.
Yeah, you're like, God, what?
What's broken?
You just go directly to your phone. It's terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do not want your site visitors, your potential clients, to go to your website and have to deal with like all of the stuff loading.
The noise.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's like they want it now. So when that happens, they navigate someplace else,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So work with somebody. A really good website developer is your best friend as a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Find some way to make sure that your website loads quickly. People know where to go. It's not like the Xfinity website. We've all gone on these websites where it's like, oh my God, there's a million things to do. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Make your buttons easy to find, right? Good user experience and good technical health. Make it fast. Those are the three main things.
That was like extremely valuable. I'm going to actually put that in my show notes, Victoria.
Please.
Yes. I'm going to put that in my show notes in addition to a lot of extremely interesting things you said. My key takeaway, among other things outside of like niching and things, what you said about collaborative, like how to actually use collaborations that you have. And now I want to go back because I don't think I have any of my like interviews and things that I've done on other people's stuff posted. Like I don't think that I've done that type of work to make sure that I'm being linked back correctly. And I do probably 2 or 3 interviews a month.
Oh my gosh.
What's wrong with me, Victoria?
No, we just don't know. There's so many things. Look, there's so many things I don't know, but then you're going to have another guest. People, it's iterative, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important for business owners to learn too. It's like, there's so many people like we talked to this weekend and they're just like, oh, I don't have it all figured out. And I'm like, yeah, you're never going to have it all figured out.
So how do you work with people if people want to have you help them figure it out? What's the best way for people to reach you? What's the best way for people to get some of this magic, this unicorn sauce that you're dropping on us?
Oh, unicorn sauce. I love that. Yeah. So our website is thelafontagency.com. Hopefully if you Google us, we show up.
Let's pray. Let us pray. Okay.
I'm fired. Somebody else needs
Exactly.
to take
Victoria, and thankfully you have a very unique name, Victoria LaFont. So I can't imagine another Victoria LaFont with the LaFont agency popping up before you. For me, if you Google Lauren Powers, there is another Lauren Powers out there. She is in her 70s. She's a fitness professional.
Oh my gosh.
She is. So when I had my gyms and stuff, it was a lot of like and her website is laurenpowers.com and mine is IamLaurenPowers.com. So when people she's been on my Zoom calls by accident before because people will invite her, Lauren, at laurenpowers.com and forget the I am. And so she's been on my Zoom calls a couple of times. It's been quite interesting. But I do believe Lauren Powers marketing I should come up. So we're going to Google, everyone do this, do the Google test and see if you can find Victoria LaFont. And then you can go to her website. You have all kinds of like information and stuff on your website too, don't you? And your own podcast.
We have a pretty hearty blog. And our podcast is more medical based. It's kind of like myth busting. But yeah, Influence to Death is our
Yeah.
podcast. Essentially the behind the scenes of what we do every time we create content for a client. And it's super fun. It's Hannah and I, my business partner,
Yeah.
we discuss these topics. So yeah, we have that podcast. And then, if people visit the site, we have a Work with Our Team tab. They can check out what we do and book a free call. I'm happy to answer questions.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for hopping into the Power Moves podcast studio. I know I got about 2 or 3 different power moves that I need to put into play right now. So just make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to this podcast everywhere the podcasts are available. And you can find this on YouTube. And you'll be able to find all of Victoria's special links inside the show notes. So until we meet again, you guys, make sure you have a powerful week. Go make some money. Do something great for your business, right? I will see you guys soon. Thanks, Victoria.
Hi, Lauren.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Power Moves Health Marketing Podcast. If you're ready to transform your practice with smarter strategies and cutting-edge tools, I want you to head over to microsite.com to book a strategy session with me and my team. While you're there, check out the show notes for links, resources, and my free Power Moves playbook. Remember, every move you make is a step toward becoming the health business leader you're meant to be. Let's keep building your momentum.